Welcome to a Broad Experience podcast. This is the second episode on this podcast, and I'm excited at what is going to be happening on this episode. Uh, Please, before we go on, let me introduce our guest today. We have a wonderful guest who is known as Enaka Beteck. Did I say that right?
Yeah, close. Well, that's like I guess the more African proper way of saying it, but here in America they call me Enaka Beteck.
Enaka Beteck.
hmm Yeah,
That's
I
an
guess
abroad.
that's just like the more Americanized way.
Yeah, that's the American experience we're having, the
Yeah,
abroad experience.
right.
Yeah, so I'm pleased to meet you and thank you for coming on to this podcast. I'm excited to
No
what we are
problem,
going
man.
to
Thanks
share
for having
today.
me.
Yeah. So let's get started by knowing about a little bit about you before we dive deeper into your experience.
hmm So, I was born in Cameroon, Africa. Moved to the U.S. when I was 8 years old. Um, just that was a quick transitioning and reality check for me because again, my life back home in Cameroon and my life here in America was completely different. So I grew up here for most of my life. Went to school here, played sports here, graduated college here. You know, worked many different jobs here. But throughout all the entire time, you know, I always had music in the back of my mind, something that I was going to end up doing with my life. So now that's what I'm doing.
Wow, that's wonderful. So you're
Yeah,
an artist.
yeah,
Yeah, and when you say move into America at 8 years, we all know that you just can't move there. So something
right.
it was a family or something.
Yeah,
Was it
so it
some
was
family?
actually my mom and my dad. They're planning for us to move to America. I guess for more for more opportunities for us.
Hmm. So what were they doing, if I may ask? What were they by that time?
Um, so in Cameroon, my dad was like he was CEO of a company, and then he also had, I guess, like a high status in society as well, and he also worked, with the government. He's done like pilgrimage for the Roman Catholic Church. So my dad, he was like involved in a lot of things. Is actually what I got to find out when he had passed away. Like a lot of the things that he was involved in. And my mom at the time in Cameroon, she was a teacher.
Okay. So when did he pass away? Was it in the US?
Now he passed away back home in Cameroon. 2023 is when he had passed away.
So after coming to the US, did they move back? Did he move back or
Well, he
how?
moved back.
Okay.
Him and my mom. When we moved here after like I want to say about a year or two, they end up separating.
Oh.
And but my dad he was always like back and forth. But me, my mom, my brothers, and my sisters, like we stayed here in America permanently. But he, because of the business he was involved in, he had to travel constantly. It was like a constant traveling.
Okay. How many are you? How many siblings do you have, maybe?
So I have two older brothers. I have an older sister and a younger sister.
Okay. That's good. So there are five of you siblings.
Yep, five of
Okay.
us.
That's wonderful. So moving to the US at 8 years, I'm trying to imagine to remember what that must have been. 8 years, grade two. Is it grade two, grade three?
Yeah, about second grade,
Second grade.
and what's crazy is like I've learned that, when a child turns 8, that's when they start like having like their independence from their parents. They're starting
Yeah.
developing like their own identity. That's why, like, here in America, the youngest age that somebody could go to jail is 8 years old. That
Oh.
was something that I had learned about like 6, 7 years ago, and I was like, man, it makes a lot of sense now. Like me when I transitioned from eight, when I was 8 from Africa to Cameroon, like a lot of the mental things that I was dealing with because of that transition that has affected my life all the way now, even as an adult.
Yeah. What could have been the experiences? Those. Yeah. Those. Yeah. Yeah. That transition. What
Yeah,
was that impact? And before you even go ahead, let me say hi to all those people who are tuned in. I see we have people who are tuned in. Thank you very
yeah.
much for tuning into this podcast. If you can just say hi, you can comment. Someone says they don't understand
And
the
Nick,
language. I
Nick
think
said, I
that's
don't
some.
understand your language.
Yeah, because this could be from a different, maybe Greece, because I have some people who are tuning in from
Okay.
Greece. So maybe they are, but it's written in English. This is the interesting thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, maybe there is the okay. Let's go ahead. So, how was the transition? What impact did it have? What was that impact that it made on you?
So in Cameroon, I was like the kid that everybody, wanted to be friends with. I
Mm-hmm.
was that, young boy that all the little girls, like everybody wanted to be my friend. Whatever I wanted to do, all my friends, they'll follow right behind me. And then coming to America and growing up as a kid here, like all of that, it was like the total opposite. I'm like, now I'm like the kid that like nobody wants to be around. I'm getting picked on a lot. I'm getting made fun of a lot. So that having to experience that, it put me like in a state of silence. So I really like growing up here. I really didn't speak much, only because of like just my first impact with kids my age. And so I became like a very silent kid, and over time, I learned and then started to make friends. And so now
Did it
now
have
now I'm here.
Did it have anything to do with color, or was it the
Yeah.
accent?
Oh
What
yeah.
it was? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it wasn't like I even had like a strong accent. It was more so because I learned that how America portrays itself to the world. It portrays itself to the world as a very high power, rich country, and
Mm-hmm.
then places like Africa, it shows less of them. Like, oh, these people are poor and they don't really have nothing. So America portrays itself as a great place over a lot of other countries. Even when I was in Cameroon, like I remember, if you wanted to travel the world, there were only two places that you wanted to go, and that was America or Europe. So when I found out that I was going to America, I was excited because of just how America portrayed itself. And
Yeah.
so coming over here, it was like nothing that I was thinking it was going to be. It was like the total. I'm like, man, America was. I'm thinking America's supposed to be, what I mean, I'm going to be living all good and rich. And no, it was nothing to it was nothing to that, and
Mm.
that made me very depressed as a kid. Having those huge expectations and then not meeting them, and then having to go through people, what I mean, who really look like me, making fun of me because of where I come from.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's something that I see many people experience
Yeah,
because they have those very high expectations, and then when they hit the ground, they are like, "Oh." This is not the place I was
Yeah, this is
thinking.
not what I
This is
thought it was gonna
this
be.
is not what even I was watching on TV. The things
Yeah.
are different.
Yep.
So tell us how you came out of that into what you are right now, because I already can tell that you're making an impact in the place that you are. So how did you?
So
How was the growth?
like how I actually really started connecting with people when I was going to school here was, I stayed to myself and I became great at writing and drawing, especially with drawing. So because I could draw really good, I started to, make some friends, and I started to get really accustomed to, the American culture and American society, and that just led into me going into different things. Like now, having to play sports. I was really good at soccer, even back home in Cameroon, but here I got influenced to play football. So I just started playing, I became good at football because I was good at soccer. And so football just became one of those sports that I played for many years of my life. I played in school, played 1 year in college, and then I even played semi-pro. And I even, even tried to become a pro athlete after, I had, graduated from college and played some years in semi-pro.
And I think that's one of the ways that people can make an impact. That's one of the ways that can help people integrate into a different society. When you are
Yeah,
gifted in something, when you have a talent that you can show the other people, okay, I am coming from a place where we don't have resources, but then I am someone who is doing something with my life and
right.
making a difference, and so people could respect you for that. So I guess that happened to you.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. And so you were good in football, which we call
Yeah,
soccer,
I was
and
very
then
athletic.
yeah.
I was a very athletic kid.
Do you mean you are not now?
Not at all. All the injuries and surgeries I've had over the years, man. I am not the same athlete like that I used to be.
So what are your hobbies apart from music? Because you mentioned music, and we are
Yeah,
coming back to
apart
music.
from music, I still, I still like work out a little bit here and there and just try to keep some type of the little bit of athleticism I have left.
Mm,
I still
beautiful.
like, I still like will go to the gym and, work out and even box, and that's another sport that I would, I had entered as an amateur, to actually prepare me for football.
Mm, mm. So when did the music?
I played a lot of sports, a lot of different sports, really.
And it's good to play sports. What would you
Yeah.
what's your experience? What's your overall experience or your overall idea about playing sports for someone who is young and just trying to figure out life?
Um, someone who's young, I'll say, I'll say this. If, even though like I was good in sports, like for me, like honestly, deep down inside, I really felt that I only wanted to become, like a pro athlete based on the perception of other people of me. And that's and that's something that I've learned, now that I'm a lot older. That I was only wanting to become a professional athlete based on what people thought of me because that's what they saw me as. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of tricked my mentality to think that that's what I needed to be. But honestly, like music was something that was meant for me to be, and for many years I was actually running away from doing that by trying to be an athlete.
So
I
when
guess
did
that's why it didn't work out, because deep down, honestly, like being a music artist was something that was designed for me to be in this life. Not a
So
pro athlete.
how did it start? How did you then now come out of that and then get started on it?
I actually started music way back in high school, but
Okay.
because of like the type of music I was making, it wasn't, like people locally couldn't gravitate towards it only for the simple fact that I spoke a lot of different things in my music. And like the area in America where I grew up in, it's considered, the hood, the streets. So it's a lot of gangster music that we grew up listening to. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, and for my area, they couldn't gravitate to what I was talking about in my music only for the simple fact that I wasn't just talking, things that were going on in the streets. I was talking about, the future, different types of themes, concepts, putting stories together,
Mm.
so that made me feel that music wasn't something that I was supposed to do based on people, based on their reaction. So over the years, I just stayed, in secret and in private, still writing songs and even recording songs, but I was only letting my ears, it was only for my ears. And it wasn't until 2022, when I decided to say I got to start putting my music out publicly, and that was only because at that time, I was going through a state in my life where I felt like I had no purpose. I was having, a lot of mental issues, going through depression, had a lot of anxiety, and I pretty much was just trying to find something for me because this is a time where I had already, you know, realized that being an athlete was not going to happen. So I had to come to that acceptance, and it was like I was trying to find pretty much try to find myself. So during that stage of my life is when I started realizing that, music was something that was meant for me to do in this life. And when I came to that realization, I just put my, put the faith in myself and put my faith in what was destined for me to do.
So did the content change or what happened? You are the one who changed.
Yeah, I'm the one who changed. Definitely me changed.
So
It's
so
just,
the content is about the future and life and not the
yeah,
games.
like my music is really based on, you know, self-reflection, um, wanting better for yourself, the things that the average person is going through and what they're having to deal with on their with their life on a daily basis. And I kind of feel like, when it comes to music, especially rap music, you're not getting that. Everybody's giving you, some type of perception. Either it's like one sided. No one is actually talking about what's in the middle, what people have to deal with on a daily basis, as far as like paying bills, something as simple as that. Raising kids, while also having to just deal with like things that are internal while living a normal life. Like no one is talking about that, but that's the bulk of people in society. That's the bulk of people in the world. The average person. No one is really telling their story.
So what impacted that? What because having grown in a neighborhood that is gangster and
Mhm.
what you're listening to, the influences that are there out there, how come you found a path and kept to that? What influenced that? What made that happen?
Honestly, like if I didn't come from the type of family that I came from, I could have easily, fell into, the street life and the gangster life. But knowing that I had a mom that and brothers and sisters that were always academically, prosperous, it made me feel like I didn't want to become the less of them.
Mm-hmm.
So even though like I got into, a lot of different situations that could have like put me in prison, or I could have ended up dead or whatever, I still had the mindset that I have to make myself something in this life, and I couldn't, let down my brothers and sisters and my mom. Like I couldn't be that the one to let them down because they've always excelled in school. They've always been academically, successful, and that was something that I had to keep doing as well. Being who I am, I didn't want to let anybody down.
And how is it being received by the general public? I mean, your
I
type
mean,
of music.
now it, from what I'm getting, I get a lot of positivity from it because of what I'm trying to do and the message I'm trying to put out there for people. So I get a lot of responses back that I should keep going because if you paid attention from like the last decade of just rap music itself, a lot of these artists, they've ended up dead, they've gone to prison, they've caught all different types of charges. So it's like that has become like the big thing for like a lot of rap artists. And that has led, younger people down the wrong path. So with me having to, be more positive and try to be a better role model for his kids through music, it's shown I get some support from that, and I try to work with different types of organizations and people, just just to make a better way for these kids.
Great. And now, since I don't think that music is your everyday thing, like you wake up
Nah,
in music and sleep in music, tell us about more of your
yeah.
life and
So I'm
things you do.
also a club manager for the Boys and Girls Club. So it's a club that helps. We try to be an impact on kids and make a better way for them while they're developing as kids. We try to give them the right resources that they need for the rest of their life. So, the music I make and me being a club manager at the Boys and Girls Club, like it all ties in into my purpose of what I'm trying to do, in this life. And where I'm at right now, where the club is, the Boys and Girls Club that I'm at, is actually in the same neighborhood that I grew up in.
How did that happen? Is it by because was it by chance? Is it something intentional that you said I want to work with the young people, or is what it provided itself?
I definitely say it's something that I've always had in me. Like after I even graduated high school, I went back to like, my old high school, and I used to help, coach those kids. I used to help my coaches, my high school coaches, coach those kids. And I was only doing it because I just love to try to help people who are younger than me and just try to show them a better way, in life, and make sure just pretty much just lead them down the right path. They don't have to make the same decisions and mistakes that I made. So I've always been a person that has used his experiences as a learning lesson. To let others know, about certain circumstances and consequences of decision making. So I've always want the younger generation to make better decisions that I've always had to make.
Great, great, great. Wonderful. Maria Kagia, hello, how are you? James Kamau, I see you are here. And
Hey,
everyone
how's it
else
going,
who,
y'all?
yeah, and everyone else who may be watching there in the background. If you have a question for Enaka, you can always ask, or even for Anthony. Any questions that you may have, as we discussed here, we talk about a broad experience, and
Hmm.
these are the experiences that Enaka has had. And if you've been here for
Yeah,
some time,
any type of question is welcome. You
Yeah,
know.
ask any time of any type of question. We will be glad to answer you.
Yes.
Yeah, so now, Enaka, talk to someone who just has finished high school, the one that you've talked, I mean, just like you expressed yourself. And
Uh, James
someone
said,
who's
What's my artist name? It's a
okay.
Noc Beteck. That's NOC space BETECK.
Yeah, so once again is ENOCBETECK.
TECK.
Enoch
Yeah, and
Beteck.
so here's the funny thing about my artist name.
Yeah, okay,
So
tell us.
my real name is Enaka Beteck. My artist name is Noc Beteck, which is spelled NOC. So the how I got the name Noc is because um well we had a field trip when I was in school when I was a lot younger going to school, and my friend's mom was the chaperone for us on that field trip. So she had a hard time trying to pronounce my first name Inaka, and she couldn't pronounce it. So
Okay.
she just kept saying Inak, Inak, Inak. You know what? I'm just gonna call you Lord Knock Knock. So it went from knock knock to now knock, and then I just decided to spell it, NOC instead of kit and like how you would regularly spell knock. And the thing about the NOC, how it's spelled that way, is because it stands for no other champion, meaning that you're the champion of your own life. Nobody else is the champion except for you in your own life. The life that you're living, you're the main character. You're the winner in your life. So that's what that stands for.
Wow.
Despite what you're going through, what you've been through, you know what I mean. You're the main person in your own life, and you have to keep that in mind. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Whatever adversity you face, you can overcome it. Just remember who you are. You are a champion.
Wow. I love that. No other champion. No other champion. You are the champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to someone who has just finished high school, or maybe someone who is studying in college. So they're trying to find themselves, but then they have a lot of negative influences. Having grown in an area where there were gangs and bad
Hmm.
influences, and you made it through. Talk to that person. How do they evade that influence or that negative impact and come out a good person, a prosperous person, so to say?
Um, I would tell them, you know, everything in this life, it always begins with self. Begins with who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, reflect on who you are. If you know that something is not for you, don't go for it. Don't try to be it. And I mean, be yourself. And the thing is, like, even though, even me myself, I grew up with a lot of dudes who ended up going to prison, who ended up, what I mean, going to the grave because of street violence and a bunch of other things. Like, what really saved me, with that experience was the fact that I always stayed true to myself,
Mm.
despite what how everybody else was acting, or what I mean, whatever the trend was. Like, I always stayed true to myself, and the thing was, like, I was always prepared to take on, the accountability and responsibility if something happened to me, because again, I'm only being true to myself. I'm only being real with me at the end of the day, despite what I'm getting influenced by, or what everybody else is doing. you know I just remained true to myself, and I was just real with everything, and in every situation. I've never tried to be a person that, you know try to be a character that I wasn't. You know, I just stayed true to myself, and like a lot of people, even people in the streets, they respected that because I didn't act a certain way. I always just been myself.
Okay. How old are you, if I may ask?
I'm 37.
37. Family?
Yeah.
Family?
You said what now?
I'm asking, do you have a family yet or
Oh
not?
yeah. I actually have three kids. I have my oldest who's about to turn 16, and then my son, and then my youngest she's 4 years old.
Did you say 16?
She's about to be 16 next week.
Meaning at 21 you had a.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and
Uh,
man, I've had a lot of experiences, man. I've
so.
been through a lot of things, and like everything that I've been through is like, you know what I mean, it's just taught me to just be a better person for my future. So I'm always a person that's constantly having to learn from my past and just want better for my future.
Okay, now because you were saying that you have had a lot of experiences.
Yeah.
Is this your children their same mother?
No,
Oh, okay.
I have
So
they are different mothers. That's why I say I got a lot of experiences.
so that's
Yeah.
so how
Yeah, that, you know what I mean,
and you can choose
and
what
I
to
take
answer and what not to
accountability for
answer.
that, man. You
Sorry.
know, I take accountability for that because again, it's just the young mindset and you know the programming and conditioning, and you don't really learn what you're doing, you know, until you grow older and you had the experiences and you really reflect on your experiences and you're like, man, you can't believe that these were the type of decisions you were making when you were younger.
Yeah, but
You
now
know, you
with
don't
the
really
one.
learn from it until you actually grow older and have the wisdom.
Okay, but now you have your wife and maybe one child, which is or all the children are with you.
Like after my youngest, after that because this what my youngest child's mother was the woman that I was with while I was going through, you know, in 2022, while I was going through the state that I was going through with dealing with depression, dealing with just everything in my life seemed like it was falling apart, including my relationship with her. You know, I didn't it I was in a state where like I couldn't love her because I didn't love myself.
Okay.
So that that you know it really wasn't going to work out. So after that relationship ended, you know, I found my true calling in music, and I said this has to be my main focus. You know, before I even try to like, you know what I mean, get into another relationship or anything like that. Like I have to get myself right first because if I don't, no relationship with any woman is going to work out for me. You know, and that was something that I had to come to learn and realize.
So the main change that has happened to you is recent. It isn't long ago. I mean, I don't, that when you've come to a point where you've said, "I'm gonna face life seriously and make some impact with music." You're talking about 2, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you just tired of the same cycle, man. Tired of going through the same cycle, the same things just repeating themselves over and over until you know you really understand what's happening. You know, I like to say life is a constant test filled with a bunch of quizzes. If you fail those quizzes, you're not going to pass the test because those quizzes are preparing you for the test. And for me, you know, some quizzes I passed, some quizzes I failed, but the majority of the time I've always failed the test. So it just repeats itself over and over until I finally learn and I say, okay, this is what I really need to be doing. I don't need to be focused on this. I don't need to be doing this. I need to be, focusing on my growth as a person in order to pass these life tests.
So do you consider yourself now as someone who's now got it or made it? I mean, not actually made it, but got it in control.
Yeah, I would say I'm someone who's become more stable and peaceful with just understanding the general of what life is.
Mm-hmm.
Just a basic concept of what life is about. I'll say I'm a person that just understands, you know, understand that, and having to understand that now I can I can get more deeper into really trying to understand more about life in terms of like other people and knowing that yeah, there is my perspective in life, there is my reality, and then there's also somebody else's how they view life and how they're going about life. So I always reflect on myself and then I think of other people. If I'm going through this, if I'm dealing with this, there's somebody else who might be, dealing with something similar, or even if it's different, we're all, individually having to deal with something, in our lives internally,
Mm-hmm.
but overall it's a part of life, and our differences is should be actually what connects us and not separates us.
What's in the future for you?
In the future, I definitely want to do some tours. I actually want to tour, not just America, but I want to tour like the actual world. I want to go around the world, touring with music, but at the same time, I also want to be like a philanthropist. I want to be someone who's, a help and support to just people in the general world.
That's good. We need people like you more and more who are willing to impact the world in a positive way. Have you been away? I mean, have you been to Africa from back then, or okay? How many
No,
times maybe? No, you haven't.
I haven't been yet. I haven't been yet, but I'm planning to. If not next year, then in another 2 years. It's actually been in the talks with my family.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom, she's been the one that's actually been over there and back quite a few times.
Okay, so what do you think of Africa with the experiences you've had with the way because you read it, maybe you didn't know much by the time that you were living at 8 years old, but now from
Yeah,
reading.
like from what I've learned, man, everything in Africa has changed a lot. Especially as far as like the music scene, because back home in Africa, like we grew up listening to like musicians who sang. We grew up listening to like a lot of singers like Kotobas. We listened to a lot of his music, and of course we knew about people like Michael Jackson, but
Mm-hmm.
rap wasn't big back then. So having to move, move from Cameroon to America, and then now noticing the music scene back home, how Afro beats have really taken over and has become like a big thing, and now you're having, artists like Burna Boy, Davido, like who are becoming like big African stars. It's like, man, it's impressive to me. It's because that's something that I didn't see coming,
Mm-hmm.
but I wish that would have happened while we were still in Africa.
Yeah. And we wish you all the best on your tours and on your impacting
Yes, thank you.
people, the youth, and all the people. Uh, of all the challenges that you've had, what could you say is or has been your biggest?
Man, biggest challenge, um, definitely mental self doubt, I would say. And the reason I say that is because, you know, I've learned that your biggest supporter, your biggest ally is going to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, your greatest enemy, the greatest person that's going to be against you is also going to be yourself.
Mm.
So it's you have to learn that how to overcome that and keep the balance. Of course, you're going to doubt yourself, but also know that you're only doubting yourself because you have that power to become who you need to be. So just overcoming, the self doubt of yourself has been the greatest challenge.
Mm. It's about being conscious of
Yeah,
who you are, what you think, what you do. I usually tell a person, please, can you think what you're thinking?
right.
Can you
Facts.
think what you're thinking? Because what you're thinking is going to eventually affect what it is that you're going to say, what you're going to do, and
Yeah, and
also the
you
consequences.
know, in the world that we're living today with the age of digital and technology, everything now is fast paced. It
Mm-hmm.
requires people to have to think quickly and make decisions fast. No
Mm-hmm.
one is really just sitting still and saying, let me think about the overall situation or circumstances of the decision that I have to make. A
Mm.
lot of people are just making decisions based on their emotions right there and then, and not realizing that you could be setting yourself up for failure in the long run because you really haven't thought about the overall consequences of what would happen if you make this decision right now.
Mm-hmm.
And again, making the decision right now, you might feel good at that moment for a short period of time, but in the long run, you're going to start seeing that that was not the decision that you should have made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially if you are abroad.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we are on the Abroad Experience podcast and
Hmm.
we are having a great time. Thank you very much, Enaka, for being here with us.
Thank you, man. I
And
appreciate it.
yeah, and I'm also thanking all the people who are watching and also those who may get to hear this on the podcast platforms that it's gonna end up on. And we are going to. What would you like us to direct people to connect with you?
So you can follow me on any social platform at NOC Beteck. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube. You can stream my music on any streaming platform. I'm everywhere. And again, you just search up NOC space Beteck. You're gonna find me. Even if you type my real name, which is En, aka space Beteck. I mean, it's just gonna lead you to the same thing. So I'm everywhere. You can find me everywhere.
Okay, yeah. So go follow. No other champion.
Yes,
Beteck.
I even have a song. I even have a song called "No Other Champion."
No other champion. So
Yeah.
we're gonna try to tag a few, maybe one or two links in the description as we are uploading to the podcast platforms. So you can check in the description whether you're gonna find it if you're watching the recorded version. But otherwise, to all those who've been with us here on the live stream, we thank you very much. And we still have 1 or 2 minutes to go. So if you have a question that you've been wanting to ask me or our guest today, you can always ask before we sign off. Few last things that you'd like us to know before we go. Please tell us.
A few last things. I got some new songs that's coming out. One of my main goals this year is to drop one or two songs every month, and I'm only doing that because at the end of this year, well, in the summertime, I'm going to be doing a performance for all our club kids, for the Boys and Girls Club. So I want to build a major catalog of songs that I'm going to perform for them during the summertime.
How many songs have you produced so far?
So I've put out a total of 31 songs so
31
far.
songs. So
hmm
how often are you releasing a song?
Now I'm releasing it at least once per month. Before it was like once every 3 6 months.
Okay.
But now I want to build my catalog out, and just show a variety of different abilities through music that I have.
Mm. Okay. We wish you all the best and thank you for sharing your experiences with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we wish that you go on to have some more wonderful experiences along the
Yes,
line.
yes. Follow the story, follow the journey, be a part of it.
Yeah, we'll follow the journey. So that's about it here on today's episode, or a broad experience. I have been your host, Anthony Muirore, and together with our wonderful guest today, Enaka Beteck,
Thank you. Thank you.
no other champion. saying,
All
we're saying bye for now.
right.
Okay, thank you for watching. Bye for now.